And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Sands Hotel proudly presents the star of our show, direct from the bar.
This is the Ford Show. We are back on the air, on the podcast waves, on the RSS feeds, on the YouTube, on the Rumble. The Ford Show is back after a long hiatus. It went dormant for a very long time, but it's back, and it starts tonight. We are minus Joey Vegas, but that's okay because Ford's here, and it's the Ford Show. So I guess in all actuality, just Ford needs to be here for the Ford Show. Madness is here. Madness.
Yo, yeah, man. As long as you're here, you know, everything's fine. We're safe. We're good. We can have a show. You can have whatever clown and crooner you want on here, or whatever goon you got to pull out here to have on this show. It'll be fine. As long as you're here spouting out your bullshit, you're going to have an audience listening. We know
Exactly. Exactly. All right. We got a jam-packed show. Listen, we can't get Vegas's home studio dialed in. This is what happens. Make note. This is what happens when you leave the studio loft to Boogie Down Jones. This is what happens.
It sounded like, if you want to know, folks, if you want to know what it sounded like, if you remember those old Nextels from like 20 years ago, where people would sit there, the chirp ones with the walkie-talkie sound through that, that's what he sounded like. So we didn't really want to broadcast that sort of sound quality on our very first episode or the rehash of the Ford Show. So we're just going to do this together and get him figured out.
We got a lot to talk about tonight. A San Diego man gets himself caught up. California is going after fentanyl dealers. A father commits a crime that I think is the real problem in this country, and we've talked about it before on the previous Ford in Vegas. We got a story on that. And we have another great solved cold case. But first, the Ford Show is back, and you can subscribe to us on YouTube at Radio Ford. We're on Rumble at Radio Ford as well. Next week, I'm excited about this. I'm going to debut a brand new piece of merch. That's right, the Ford Show's back, and the merch is back, baby. And we got a brand new. Should I give a little teaser?
Why not, man? What is it? Okay. Can't hurt.
I'll give you a little teaser. It's a hat.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We like hats on the show. We like hats.
Yeah.
Hats.
I'm actually going to have it next week on this show. So if you're watching on Spotify, on YouTube, I'm going to have the hat. And of course, we would love it if you bought a hat because it supports the show and helps me get some of my money back for getting the hats made. If you don't want to buy a hat, but you still want to help the show out, patreon.com/Radio Ford. And you can get that for as low as $3 a month. And if you're like, Ford, I really don't want to do that, just let me do like a one-time donation. Okay, Venmo at Radio Ford. There's plenty of ways for you to help out the show, and we appreciate it. But I will have that new piece of merch next week on this show, and I'm very excited for it. Madness, I want to begin this before we get into all the murder and crime. I wanted I needed some opinions. Now, of course, I would have liked it if Vegas was here, so I would get multiple opinions. But I have a friend who reached out to me and asked me for some advice. And I thought, well, this sounds like great content for the show. So I'm coming here to find out what you and I both would give for advice to this friend.
This is a work. You don't have any friends.
Oh, that's true. That's true. It was Vegas, because you two are like my only friends.
Well, he's not even here, so.
True. So, but here's the deal. I have a friend who needs to fire, I guess for the lack of a better term, his cleaning lady. And he doesn't know how to do it, how to go about it, but he's replaced his cleaning lady with a new cleaning lady, and he's got to figure out how to tell the old cleaning lady that she's finished. Now, it's from my understanding, he does not know his current cleaning lady on a personal level, strictly business. And as far as I'm aware, she's been the cleaning lady for like 5 years. We'll just go with 5 years. And he asked me for advice. And I've never fired a cleaning lady before. I have one, but I haven't fired her yet. How does he do it? Because here, I'll tell you one thing. I'm a little bitch, right? So if I had a cleaning lady, a sweet little old lady, I wouldn't want to go, listen, we're moving on. I would have to come up with some other BS excuse like, we're cutting back costs. Because I wouldn't want to hurt her feelings, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I would give her a cashmere sweater with a red dot on it. So
that would do it.
That's what I would do.
Pick some Hennigans, and maybe you guys can shag on the carpet.
There you go.
No, but I'm being serious. How do you fire a cleaning lady? Madness, you're rich. You probably fired 4 or 5 in your day. How did you do it?
I just tell them to leave. I show them the door. I show them where they fucked up. I say, look at this crap. You're gonna be working in another house next week. Fuck you. Like my own, it's in my lineage. My own grandfather at restaurants, he used to go talk to waitresses and just ask her if the service wasn't up to par. He would look her right in the eyes and say, "Where are you working next week?" And that's just in your blood. No, but for real. Though, the best way to do it is honesty and be like, look, you did a great job for 5 years. This is what's going on.
You?
What's that?
But we're replacing you?
We're replacing you because the new clean lady is just hotter than you. And I'm sick of looking at your frumpy ass. That's what I would say.
I don't know if it's a hot thing. I think it's a skill level thing.
Well, here's another thing I'll tell you. I once upon a time, here's a boring story. I'll keep it short. Worked for a commercial cleaning company. I didn't clean. I placed the services into.
I remember that.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And if I know anything about cleaning people, they start out hot and they dwindle, and they need lots of whips to get going.
It's my understanding that the results have diminished.
It always happens
as the years have gone on.
When I worked with that job and I would go talk to the office managers, whoever was running the medical facilities and what it was, their main complaint was our cleaning service got lazy. Every time we do it, we replace them, we start, they do it, they get lazy. So you got to, and the new cleaning person that this guy is going to hire is going to also get lazy. So
how frequently do you need to replace them? Every 5 years?
It depends how lazy they get. That's pretty. I mean, I heard that within months they dwindle.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Well, yeah. They just stop giving a shit. I mean, how could you? If you think about it, you're not making any money. They don't make good money. How motivating can it be? And if you're not being told that you're not doing well or you're not getting any feedback, you're just going to keep slacking, cutting a little corner here and there, getting what you can done. And what they need to do, these cleaning people, they don't just clean one house. They clean multiple houses. So when you need money and you're going to be going on and you need to go house to house to house, to place to business to keep cleaning, you want to fill those time slots and clean as fast as you can to get to another one to make more money. So that's what they do. And that's what's happening here. So, and then the other one's going to start out fine for a little bit, and that's what's going to happen. They're just going to dwindle.
I think, the results have diminished. The pay has not gone up from what I understand. Just the results have diminished. He's moved on, but he doesn't know. So I asked him, I said, well, if you know you moved on, obviously you hired the other one, the other one's cleaned. What did you tell the current lady? And he goes, I told her we were out of town for the week and come back in 2 weeks. So now his current cleaning lady is going to think that he went a month without cleaning, but there is no next time. He just doesn't know how to tell her.
Well, it's going to have to grow a set of balls, personally, and he's going to have to just say, hey, you got to go. You just got to do it. You got to just be honest with people. I think we live in a society now where we're just too afraid of honesty and saying, look, the results have not been well. This has run its course. You did a great job for 5 years. I was happy with everything up until now. We're trying something new. Happy birthday and good luck with your future endeavors, lady.
I'm a bitch. I'd be like, hey, we're going to cut back on cost. I can't be mean to the little old ladies. I'm not going to be mean to you. I'm not going to be mean to Vegas, that fat fuck. But I cannot be mean to the little old lady.
You know, you almost do the two cleaning ladies know each other? Do the two cleaning ladies know each other at all? Okay, well then you have to you do the it's not you, it's me. Here's another Seinfeld thing, right? So you do it's not you, it's me. I can't afford this any longer. I have a gambling problem and I lost a lot of money and I have to cut costs in my life. Unfortunately, cleaning this home is one of those because I can't stay away from the craps table. And those 2 weeks I was gone, I was in Vegas and I lost a shit ton more. And I cannot afford you any longer. You are too good at what you do and I just can't afford you. So I'm sorry. There you go.
So
make it like put her over.
Put her over on the way out.
Put her over. I'm like, I can't afford you anymore. I fucked up. It's me. I did this. I fucked up my finances.
My fault.
I'm probably getting my knees broken. It might not even be safe in this house anymore with the amount of money I owe. So I don't want you in here because I'm afraid they're going to come in and find me to look to bash my kneecaps in. They're going to see you in here, mistake you for me, and then you're going to get the shit beat out of you while you're just trying to dust the counters. So, lock 'em.
There you go.
There you go, guy. If you're listening to the show, grow some balls or do that. It's not you, it's me. That's how I would do it. Can't like that. Yeah. And make her
it's kind of like being a bitch.
Yeah, make her scared to be there. Maybe like, oh, it's not safe here any longer. That's
Yeah.
it.
The wife left. She's staying at her mom's house. It's getting real ugly here.
Yeah, like
Kids aren't here.
Pay for like a few cop cars to just come sit outside randomly, just in case she's just kind of scopes the
Now you're
area just to make sure.
Now you're
There you
invested.
go. That's my best guess. That's my most realistic way to do it. What I would do is probably make it about me fucking up to make her not feel bad, but still get her out.
I'm with you. So, listen, unfortunately, nobody has ever paid me enough money to do this and not have to have a real job. So I have a real job, and my real job is on the phones, helping people, sometimes helping people relieve some debt, credit card debt, that sort of thing, personal loans, that sort of thing. And I answered a call, and I have the call audio that I want to play. And then we're going to get into the San Diego man that.
Are you sure this is legal, what you're doing here, to play a recorded phone call for credit card debt on the air here?
Because I answered the call, and I said, this call is being recorded. Now, I have censored all names. I've even censored the company name. So nobody knows who it is, where this call was to. You just hear my voice and her voice.
All right. Well, if you lose your job over this, you're going to have to fire your cleaning lady. So go for it.
Yeah. And then that'll be I'll have an excuse. I'll have your excuse will be for real.
Well, there you go. It all works out. So let's play this here. Let's hear you get fired. And then
take it easy.
And then you can fire your cleaning lady. Everyone's going to get fired from this show. Even me. I'm wearing my company logo on this shit. They're going to see that. And I'm going to get fired too.
All right, here it is. This is comical. There is no pertinent information on this that'll get anybody fired. All right. Are you ready to laugh, Madness?
Yes, and I think anyone listening should report this so he gets fired.
There you go.
And for the last 3 or 4 months, you guys keep sending me something in the mail from offering me a $25,000 loan. Well, I don't know what fucking state or world you fucking assholes live in, but there ain't nobody out there that's going to fucking take a letter from you that looks like a fucking check, making them think that they've got something coming in the mail. So take my fucking name off your goddamn list and stick me in your training never to call or send letters to people like me again. Understand?
You seem very happy.
Yeah, whatever, dick shit. Go fuck yourself in the bathroom. That's probably all you get paid for.
Was that the woman that sang the "Rocking Around the Christmas Tree"? Brenda Lee? Is that who that was?
No, this was not her. But that literally was the beginning. So that was after I had introduced myself, said you're on a recorded line. She gave me her name. I said, "How can I help you?" And that was the first thing she started talking about. She was full hot on that.
So I have to comment there, because back in the day, I'm talking 2 decades ago, I worked in a call center.
No, it's back in the day, all right, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I worked in a call center, and this is back when people would call in to order VHS tapes or DVDs. Okay.
Wow.
And we had like it was one company that had like 4, 5, 6 different companies within it. So you would be in different queues, and different queues had different videos they were associated with, and they would send out catalogs. So one of them was Spice, which is porn.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd be in the Spice queue. So people would call me either to place orders through the catalog, but most people were calling to bitch because they're getting Spice catalog videos sent to their home, and they have kids. I don't blame these people, but they would fucking lay into me just like Brenda Lee laid into you.
I like how you've named her.
That's who she is. You know what I'm talking about. Rocking Around the Christmas Tree?
Nah, no clue.
Come on, the one from Home Alone when you got to be shitting me. You knew it if you heard it.
I mean, I might know the song, but I don't know the person.
Well, you look it up after the show. I mean, everyone listening knows who that is, but
Well,
that's what that reminded me of. You take this smut out of my mailbox, and then I had to always respond with, "Okay, I've taken you off the list." However, they are like pre-sent out, so you may get one more. I always have to tell them that, like, I don't want one more. You son of a my 14-year-old daughter just got the mail and saw this, and I'm just like, holy shit, what am I doing with my life? I didn't work for very long, but it was funny. And it was funnier, even funnier, when people would actually call in to order it. And they would, and what you had to do was they would give you like a SKU number. So they would read off the SKU. I'd put it in, and the protocol was to read the title of the video so they can confirm that they were ordering the right thing. So they would give me a number, and I would be like, okay, Ariana's Ass Eaters. And they were like, yep, that's the one. And then, okay. And then I would just kind of keep going. I have to read these pornographic names to these people when I was placed in that queue. So that just reminded me of that. But how did you? How else did that call go for you? That was the end of it? That was the end of it. So
that was it.
Did you take her off the list?
No.
Swears he's not on the spectrum.
You big dummy.
But we think he's lying. This is the Ford Show.
All right. So we're going to start this week into our little dive here into some true crime stuff. Madness is this is his first rodeo when talking about murder and crime. So I'm sure he's going to get the hang of it real quick. So a San Diego man has been accused of stalking his ex-girlfriend for more than a year after a judge rejected her request for a restraining order. And then the San Diego man then killed his ex's fiance. Prosecutors say Jesse Milton Alvarez was spurred by jealousy when he carefully planned the fatal shooting of Mario Fierro, a beloved teacher, which tells me he was probably underpaid. When Fierro proposed to Amy Gambara, so Amy Gambara is the fiance, is the woman who dated Mr. Alvarez. She was also, or she is also, a fellow teacher at a Cathedral Catholic high school. He proposed in December of 2020. He couldn't know that her jealous, obsessive, and possessive ex-boyfriend would methodically plot his execution. Fierro did know that Alvarez, who's now 33 and hopefully will spend the rest of his remaining years behind bars, had allegedly been stalking Gambara since their breakup in September of 2019 after 3 years of dating. School security officials had also escorted Alvarez off campus several times, but he and Ferrero had never met face-to-face until the morning of February 1, 2021, when Alvarez shot him 6 times in front of his home as Fierro, who was 37 at the time, was preparing to go to work. Alvarez was arrested at his home that evening and later pleaded not guilty to the murder charge, which includes a special circumstance allegation of lying in wait, as that's usually how that goes down. Prosecutors declined to pursue the death penalty. I don't know why. Madness, you'll learn on this show. We believe in, and I hope you believe, Madness, you could tell me if you do or if you don't, but I hope you believe in, if you kill, you should be killed.
I do. I also believe that if you kill, you should probably be tortured for a while.
I love it.
Because I don't think that, and I do think that it has to be clear cut, because I don't believe that any innocent person should be sent to the chair.
Correct.
Or tortured. But I do believe that because just killing to kill, I mean, you know, you're also causing trauma and a lot of life changes to the family and possibly the children of these people. And I don't know if a quick death is necessarily the best way out. I think it's the easier way out. I guess it's barbaric, but I'm sorry. I think that maybe torture might hinder some of these things from the future. Like if you didn't care, some people, they don't care if they die. They don't give a shit, but they might care if they're going to be in like agonizing pain for the next 10 years. So
Chilling audio of the shooting, of course, recorded by neighbors' security cameras, because there is a security camera everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Was played in court on February 26th, the first day of Alvarez's trial. The first shot was followed by a scream, then silence as 5 more shots rang out on the North Park residential street. Alvarez targeted Fierro after he saw a picture of him in Gambara in a social media post by the high school on December 21, 2020, congratulating the couple on their engagement. See that? An Instagram post lost a man's life. Fierro taught social studies, coached the cross-country team, and was the football team's assistant coach. 6 weeks after the engagement post, Alvarez drove his brother's car to Fierro's apartment and waited for an hour, confronting him just after 7 a.m. Fierro probably hasn't even had his cup of coffee yet in the morning. Prosecutors called the shooting an ambush, but Alvarez's defense attorney said he acted in self-defense, that Fierro had assaulted him when all he wanted to do was talk. Now, this is what makes this story the best madness. Alvarez's Google searches. Now, remember what I just said. His defense attorney said that he shot him in self-defense. But Alvarez's Google search browser history tells a much different story. Among his Google searches in the days after the engagement post, remember, in December of 2020, Mr. Alvarez Googled the following searches: hire hitman, San Diego, California. How to shoot someone in self-defense. How to shoot someone without leaving forensic evidence. Does a phone on airplane mode track GPS location? And then, do the police use cell phone GPS data when tracking criminal activity? But one particular Google search is going to really hurt his case. How to kill your ex's fiance.
That very subtle. I mean, I can see why people might be confused here. That was a very subtle way to look at it.
Alvarez was not done with his Google searches on the internet. Someone needs to take this man's phone away. He then visited websites with names including How to Commit the Perfect Murder, 16 Steps to Kill Someone and Not Get Caught, and Leaving an Invisible Trail, How Killers Cover Up Their Crimes.
Wow. So he was really looking to do his homework there, but really was working against him.
But this was in self-defense. Like, there's grasping at straws, and then there's Kerry Armstrong, the defense attorney. Like, I don't think you take this case if you know the Google search history. I don't think you do.
I don't know. Lawyers are snakes. They'll take just about any case and try to go for anything they can. They're getting paid enough.
Alvarez also bought 2 guns and signed up for firearms training classes. His defense attorney, Kerry Armstrong, said Alvarez purchased the guns for his own safety because of, get this, the country's political unrest in 2020. Because there were, quote, a lot of riots going on, end quote. Yes, they were just tearing up San Diego. One of his instructors at the gun range was troubled by several of Alvarez's questions, according to a detective who testified at a February 2022 hearing in the case. Alvarez apparently asked the instructor, where's the best place to shoot someone to kill them? What about the back of the head? But don't worry, he killed him in self-defense. Although he Googled, how do I kill my ex's fiance? Like, I understand that he's not mentally right? Like, to kill someone, you're clearly not mentally right. But to Google how to do it and get that specific, that's on another level of mentally not right. And I don't know how you don't go after the death penalty here. I don't understand why we're not putting this guy down. Why are we going to waste taxpayer dollars in California to keep this guy alive?
Well, you're in California. They love their criminals. They're that weird far left demographic or democratic bullshit. And that's what we're working with in that state. It's a scary place. Do you ask me? That guy should be rotting at this point. What was the verdict?
Well, I
What
don't
did they
have
give
a
him?
verdict.
What
Can you
did they
get me one?
No.
Get me one while I go over the rest of this.
Yeah.
Be a team player for once in your life.
Well, yeah.
So Gambara had ended her relationship with Alvarez because of his increasing pattern of control, manipulation, and emotional abuse. Go figure. So she sent in a request for a restraining order in December of 2019. In the months after their breakup, Gambara said Alvarez's harassment had escalated, and he repeatedly tried to contact her from unknown numbers, cyberstalked her, and even followed her and her sister to the Disney California Adventure theme park in Anaheim. She changed her door lock, installed a security camera, she said in an affidavit. She said the camera captured video of Alvarez trying to get into her apartment. She finally moved to another home because she was fearful of what he might do. I'm extremely afraid he will harm me, she wrote. Alvarez, he filed a 13-page response to her restraining order request saying that Gambara had mischaracterized or lied about his behavior and promising to leave her alone, which he did not. So a judge who I think should be held a little responsible for the results of what has gone down, because he denies an obvious request for this woman to have an order of protection. Not saying that her fiance would still be alive today if she had been granted that, obviously. But this decision by this judge did not help. Madness, is there a result of this trial yet?
Yes, it appears as if he is now facing life in prison without possibility of parole. So I see nothing in my research here of a death penalty. But it does.
Yeah, well, they said they weren't going to go after it.
Yeah, so that's where we're at. It looks like it's going to be life in prison without the possibility of parole, so he'll be locked up forever.
So now people, the California, San Diego area taxpayers have to pay for this scumbag to stay alive, even though it was
he gets meals. He gets his meals. He gets It's bullshit.
He's gonna get better health care than me. He's gonna get three meals, 3 hots and a cot.
He don't got to go to work.
Doesn't have to go to work.
He doesn't have to hear Brenda Lee yell at him about a fake $25,000 check every day.
You're damn right he doesn't.
And I'll tell you, that Google search thing, I wanted to go back to all that. There's a great book. I'm going to give a book reference out to everybody. It's called Everybody Lies. And it's by Seth Stevens Davidowitz. I believe I said his name right. But it's all about how you can use to get the most truth from anybody. To learn the most you can about somebody, you check their Google search history. You will learn more about what's in the head of the closest people to you by simply looking at their browser history. Clear your browsers, people. If you don't want to know what people are up to, it is a window into your brain to look at your search history. It's what you're thinking of. Why are you thinking of it? And then the danger of that becomes people drawing their own conclusions as to why you're thinking of that. You could be Googling something just out of curiosity and interest. You know what I'm saying? And then someone goes through your search history and bam, that's it. And I don't know about you, but I think just like social media, if you delete posts or whatever you do, or pictures and posts, much like your search history browser, I believe that can still be accessed for, for any reason, as far as like, being looked at for a crime. I think that's still there. So I don't know. I just know that if you look through somebody's history, you can learn a lot about that person, what they're into. And I guess from this book, I remember one of the weirdest things ever, that the most searched in India, get this, in India, the most searched pornographic type of porn. Do you know what it is?
No.
It would be adults being breastfed like babies.
All right. Next, we're going to dive into Madness's Google search history. Stand by.
All your life, you've looked up to him.
He is the person we all want to be like.
He is your inspiration. He is Ford.
A true role model.
This is The Ford Show.
All right. Madness, they say a study has said that we're much better listeners if we keep our eyes closed.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so go ahead, and I'm going to close my eyes. I want you to give us a rundown of your Google search history.
You want to? Okay, ready for this?
Just the most recent stuff. Yeah, just the most recent. Go ahead.
Okay.
I got my eyes closed.
All right, let's see here. Alvarez Gambera case.
Oh, hey, that's relevant.
Everybody lies. High definition city skyline. Hearing Mike Echo on StreamYard. How much should a nutrition coach charge? Moo business cards, and the WWE logo.
All right.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Not afraid to tell you guys what I'm up to.
Excellent. So, if you have listened to the Ford in Vegas True Crime podcast, which is the same feed that this the Ford Show is now going up to, you would have heard us talk at length about the real problem in this country is not people walking into a public place and shooting it up. The media will have you believe that that's our biggest problem when it comes to guns and violence. But there are actual statistics, stats. There is a website that tracks this sort of thing in real time. I have the links. I don't have my iPad. Next week, I'll bring you the link. In the meantime, you can know that it exists. And it's something that's tracked by the New York Times, of all places, I believe. But what this country really has is a problem with familicide, right? It's a problem with family members killing other family members. That's the real problem. In fact, you are more likely to get shot by someone you know than you are by being shot by a stranger. And that's not me making it up. That's reality. And in Florida, a Florida father took out his kid and then turned the gun on himself. And next week, I'm going to bring my iPad up here to the studio off Boogie Down Jones, and we'll go over some numbers. And I'll show you visual proof. But the Highlands County Sheriff's Office responded on Thursday morning, according to HCSO for short. Deputies responded to Advent Health Sebring at 11:26 a.m. Deputies say a 66-year-old Sebring man brought his adult son, who was reportedly being somewhat combative, to the hospital. So he brings his son to the hospital, clearly wanting to get his son some sort of help, right? He didn't bring him to the police station. He brought him to the hospital. Maybe it was some kind of mental issue. Maybe it was some kind of drug thing. Maybe he was high on bath salts. I don't know. Once at the emergency room, the officials say that the son was placed in a mental health room. Inside that room, deputies say the father pulled out a handgun, fired shots into the wall, as an apparent attempt to get other people out of the room. Then the man proceeded to shoot and kill his son, who was lying in bed, and then turned the gun on himself like a real bitch. Deputies say both men were dead when they got to the scene. Officials have not reported any other injuries except to the wall. The hospital was placed on lockdown and started diverting EMS traffic to a nearby facility. So try to understand these events. A father brings his son to the hospital for being somewhat reportedly combative. They place the kid in a mental health ward. Then the father goes and kills him. And then kills himself. So now we're left with assholes like me to sit on true crime podcasts and try to ponder out why he did what he did. What say you, Madness?
You know, the reasoning behind this stuff is not as deep as we think. It's a lapse in judgment. It's a snap in the brain. It's a moment.
He's got the gun on him. Like he's got a gun on him. Like he's bringing. Like he's just
some
bringing
people,
gun.
some people carry.
He might be a hillbilly.
Some people carry. Some people carry.
Sure.
I don't know. It could be predetermined, but I think a lot of times that once it gets down to brass tacks and things start happening, it's literally, I think, at least I can't speak for all cases, but with these things, it's literally just a quick slip in judgment. It's losing yourself, losing your brain, losing your mind, losing your emotions, letting it all go in 1 minute, feeling a certain way, not able to control that feeling, and it just feels like you need to lash the fuck out to get that feeling away. When people kill other people, it's obviously ego-driven. It's very ego-driven. When people kill themselves, it's a desperation act. It's something that they want to kill the feeling that they have. And not to get so deep into this stuff, but this is all it is. They're not trying to kill themselves, they're trying to kill the feeling that they have. So obviously there was something going on here. This person's not right. Like you said early in the show, if you're going to kill somebody, you're not in the right state of mind. And that goes for killing yourself too. So
and let's not just say, because I could understand, Madness, what you're saying. If we're talking about killing a lover in a heated passion moment like Mr. Alvarez did, although his was pretty damn meditated, and he didn't even kill the lover. Okay, but let's just O.J. Simpson. Okay, I could see killing your ex or your current significant other in a heated moment, in the heat of the moment, in the heat of the argument, in the heat of everything. But this man is killing his own son. His own son.
Yeah.
Now I could see killing your wife. Okay, I could see that, or I could see killing your husband. I could see that too. Trust me. Sometimes I wonder how I'm still alive. But he's killing his own flesh and blood. Now, I don't have any kids, but something tells me there's supposed to be a kinship, a bond, when it's your own flesh and blood, something that you created. And he brings him to a hospital and then shoots him in a mental health ward. I can't, I don't understand.
So I have two kids, two daughters, and I never in my right mind could ever see myself hurting them in any way. I think it's the most despicable thing. As a matter of fact, I believe a parent outliving their child in any way is the greatest tragedy in the world. That's 100% fact. I know there is something, and I did a podcast myself recently with somebody nowhere near to this extreme, where her own parent was basically shaming her and demeaning her all the time, to this point of to an eating disorder, and to this heinous way of speaking, which I couldn't even imagine speaking to my kids. So there's different levels of this. And I think that what happens sometimes is people have so much shame in themselves. They have so much just self-hate, self-loathing. They just despise themselves so deeply that instead of taking it out on themselves, they take it out on the next closest thing, which is what they created. And if this person isn't going to alleviate that for them, they use them as the scapegoat. That's the only way I can see that, is that I know that that's a thing. It kind of goes in lighter ways with those parents who live vicariously through their kids. Maybe the dad wanted to be a football player. He fell short. He only got to high school with it. Now he wants his kid to do it because he's obsessed with it. It all comes down to your ego and your mentality and your emotional health. All of it. It's a big combination of shit. That's my take on it.
So next week we're going to go over, and I'm going to back up my claim that America's real problem is not with a mass shooting when it comes to gun violence.
That's not at all. That's not even close. You're right. And we've been here before. We've said this 1,000 times. That's just glamorized shit. Some of that I think is staged. I'm sorry. If you don't know who I am and you listen to this show, I am a skeptic. I ask questions. You can call me a conspiracy theorist.
I was going to say, is it you refer to it as a skeptic because maybe that makes it sound like it's a little softer. But
well, they've taken the term conspiracy theorist, and they've gone ahead and dragged that term through the mud to be a crazy tinfoil hat idiot.
Yes, Aaron Rodgers is the new conspiracy theorist.
Well, the problem,
have you heard about him?
No, I haven't, because I don't pay attention to sports. But
no, this is sports related.
I also don't watch the news. But anyways, I'm just
being a conspiracy theorist.
Of course, because they've trained people. They've trained everyone to believe that the government has set up things and debunked their own shit to make conspiracy theorists look stupid and idiotic and out there and crazy, just so that they can say that we are the narrative. Why would they not do that? How come? That is just the smartest way to take control of an entire population, is to gain all the trust, and anyone who questions you is a crazy psycho. It's such a simple way to control the masses. It's so obvious that they've done this, and that they continue to do this, to where they are successful, to where they will say that every conspiracy theorist is a crazy nut job, and it's just more. You're safe if you just go with the narrative. You're safe that way. You have something to fall back on. People don't like, and nowadays everyone wants to be included. Everyone wants to be in their own their circle, and they don't want to be left out. They don't want to be ostracized. So what happens now? You can't question that shit because you're going to be ostracized, and you're just going to go along with the majority, even though they've duped you. Just saying.
So I don't know how that has to do with the real American when it comes to guns,
because I think that they've set up some of these shootings. That's where I'm going with this. Because I think that some of these shootings have been staged or orchestrated or not even real.
The work, kid.
The one that really got to me was like questioned me, maybe really started thinking about it, was the one at the Pulse nightclub. Because that really touched a lot of the political side of things. It got to the gays. It was a gay nightclub they shot up. It got to the gun control thing. And, it happened in Florida. Everyone hates Florida. They just got all kinds of things going then. And I believe that was in 2015 or 16 leading up to that election, I think. I just know that's what they go for. And why do these shootings happen in like spurts? Like, how come it's like mass shooting season? Here we go. It's like there's like 5 or 6 in a row. Is it an agenda or is it copycats? What do you think? I don't know.
So this country does not have a mass shooting problem, and the stats will prove that. Numbers, folks, numbers will prove that.
We have a media problem.
We have a media problem, yes, but we also have a family killing family problem. And that's what we really have, which really means that we have a mental health crisis.
Absolutely.
And if you don't think we have a mental health crisis in this country, you should go to TikTok. Okay, you should go to TikTok and you'll find out real quick, while you still can, until they ban it, that we have a definite mental health problem.
That is 100. You know what kills me is these leftists, these progressives, most of them, that they will sit there and claim they're mental health advocates. They will sit there and say that they are all about mental health. I agree with them. We need strong mental help here with this country, but they'll stay silent and they'll blame the gun when there's a shooting, when it's clearly a mental health issue first and foremost, and it's obvious by the fact that there are millions and millions of gun owners, and they're not going around shooting everybody. Maybe they're family members, but not them all. Not the movie theater, not the school down the street. And again, I know I sound like a heartless asshole, but it's not the gun's fault. You need to have protection at schools, and you need to evaluate people mentally, and this needs to become something. But nobody cares about people enough to go ahead and do this. Bottom line. They want to pill you. They want to give you a medication. That's it.
The best of him dripped down his dad's leg.
Oh, God, I think I'm going to bottle.
This is The Fort Show.
All right, before we jump in here to California, I just want to ask you this question, man. It's a little can you guess game here. More money is spent on this hobby than any other. I'll give you one clue. It's not podcasting.
Mm-hmm. Golf.
More money. Oh, I'm going to say it one more time because you're not right. More money is spent on this hobby than any other.
World of Warcraft.
No, the actual answer is gardening.
No shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
I don't have any
Nice.
stats to back that up. You'll just have to believe me when I tell you.
Wow, where'd you get that from?
California prosecutors. It's radio stuff that gets emailed to me. California prosecutors are taking a more aggressive stance on the fentanyl crisis by charging drug suppliers with murder if fentanyl distribution results in a death. And you know what? I don't disagree a lot with California. I don't agree a lot with California, I meant to say. But I'm going to agree with this one because, listen, I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm going to get real close here to the camera. There's one thing that aggravates me the most. Okay? Really grinds my gears. You want to know what that is? It's that I feel like I can no longer do cocaine recreationally because I'm worried that it would be laced with fentanyl. So if we can wipe out these drug dealers who would rather kill their customer than get their customer high, then let's give them the murder charge, baby. Let's party. While the state's larger cities such as San Francisco, San Diego, and Sacramento have traditionally used less punitive approaches to drug-related cases, counties in the outskirts of the progressive states with a stronger GOP presence are beginning to ramp up their efforts on this matter. Mike Hestron is the district attorney for Riverside County, California, has charged 34 alleged fentanyl suppliers with homicide over 3 years, and is the first state prosecutor to secure a guilty verdict for a fentanyl-related murder case. Last year, a jury found Vincent David Romero guilty of second-degree murder after he knowingly supplied a pill containing a deadly dosage of fentanyl to Kelsey King, who was 26, who thought the pill was oxycodone. You can't even take a Xanadu, a little Xanny, a little bring me down, maybe give me a good night's sleep, a little Xanax. Don't take too much and buy women purses. Just letting you know, just throwing it out there. Don't do that. But they're even lacing the pills. You can't even be a pill popper anymore because of fentanyl. While the state does not have a law that categorizes a fentanyl-related death as murder, Hestron and other state attorneys are turning to the Watson murder rule used in a drunken driver case in which the drunk drivers can be charged with murder if they knowingly disregard the risks. Defense attorneys are arguing the definition of murder in these cases is unconstitutional because it's not backed by the law. The power to define the crime of murder belongs to the legislator, said Michael Duncan, not the actor. Romero's defense attorney, not to courts and not to Mr. Hestron's office. While some leaders in the state say bringing severe charges only will exasperate the prisoner overflow in the state's prisons, some state prosecutors say cracking down on drug charges signals to fentanyl suppliers that their actions could result in more than just a slap on the wrist consequence. San Francisco District Attorney Brooke Jenkins, who assumed the role after her predecessor was recalled for being too soft on crime, if you remember, when you could just walk into a store in San Francisco and steal whatever you want, and walk out and whatever. We will not let you get away with killing our most vulnerable. So, California's approach to crime has begun to change in the last year as voters, Republicans, and some centrist Democrats are putting more pressure on state leaders to get tough on crime and homelessness, as well as the fentanyl crisis as it plagues blue cities. Madness, in your opinion, should a drug dealer get a murder charge? Murder is the case they gave me if one of their customers dies from a fentanyl overdose. What say you? I say yes, absolutely. I want to be able to do cocaine recreationally.
That's a good question, but I'm going to say no.
Of course.
No. Look, I'm not agreeing with the drug dealers. Obviously, they're doing illegal shit.
Sounds like.
I think they should be prosecuted for what they're doing that's illegal. And from there, that's the end of it. Because I am a firm believer in you make the decisions for yourself. You went and bought the drugs. You took them. You took too much. You died.
No. But understand though that you don't have to take too much anymore. You it's not a case of doing
you're still taking it. It doesn't matter. You're still putting it in your body. If it doesn't matter what it is. Like if I go to the store, I go to the store and I buy rat poison, okay, and I decide to drink it.
Yeah, well, that's definitely not the same thing that we're talking about here.
Well, I'm just saying that the store is not going to go to jail because I drank the rat poison from the store. I know that sounds out there, but I also think like if somebody was to go to you, listen, I'm talking. If you see that, if somebody was to say to me, "Go kill yourself," go fucking kill yourself. If you said that to me, if anybody said it to me, or I said it to somebody, you go kill yourself, and then you do it. I am not responsible for it. I'm a piece of shit. I'm a piece of shit for saying it.
They've proven that one girl got a murder charge for telling.
I know the case you're talking about, but I don't agree with it. I'm just saying that's where I believe in personal choice and all that shit, and I do believe that should not be a murder charge. I think they should be prosecuted and jailed for being shitty fucking drug dealers and putting the shit out on the streets so people can die. I guess in a sense to that, but I don't know if the charge should be murder. I don't think because they didn't actually kill anybody.
Here's where
it's poison, right? Can we call it poison?
Here's where it sucks. I know of a case where a husband and a wife decided the kids were away or whatever the case may be. I can't remember the exact specifics, but a husband and a wife decided, you know what, we're going to do. The kids are away. We're going to have a little fun this weekend. We're going to do a little. Okay, they're gonna do a little cocaine, a little bump ski, do some rails. They never did cocaine. It wasn't like they were drug heads. They weren't abusers. They weren't even recreational users. It was the kids were away for the weekend and they decided to live a little. Because cocaine is a hell of a drug when you want to live a little. And both of them died from drug overdoses because of fentanyl. And it was probably the first time they had done cocaine, I don't know, years, maybe all their lives. I don't really know. But I do know that they weren't abusers. And they just wanted to have a little fun on the weekend. And they died from fentanyl overdoses. It's a real problem. Like I said, let me do cocaine recreationally, damn it.
It's nights like these that make you wonder, where's he been all your life?
Oh, that's funny.
This is The Ford Show.
So on our last thing before we get out of here, remember, subscribe to us on YouTube at Radio Ford. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Next week, new hat. Please support the show. Patreon.com/Radio Ford. If you want to help the show that way, $3 a month gets you in the door. Or if you just want to send a one-time donation, Venmo at Radio Ford. And before we get out of here, I'm looking at the rest of my notes here. Madness, you can attest to this before we get to our last story. According to a new study, parents' sleep may suffer for 6 years after their child's birth. In that case, Madness, you probably lost 12. You didn't sleep for 12 years.
It's been, it's tough. You know, obviously sometimes the mothers can have a harder time if they're nursing. But to this day, You can, I could still say that because the kid will find her way into the bed with me, and she grinds her teeth and kicks me and wakes me up. So, but you love him, and it's all good. No, it's true. It's a true story.
So, on this podcast, every week we like to end the shows with a solved cold case. Those are the best, right? When the guy or girl who thinks they got away with it all these years, and all of a sudden they get a knock at the door, and it's the feds, and you're going down for that murder you committed 30 years ago. I love these stories.
They were a little late on Jimmy Superfly Snuka, though, right?
Yes, they were definitely a little late on that one. And we have this story here out of Dallas.
Today, Dallas County District Attorney says the investigative technique of genealogy actually led to the first murder conviction in Dallas County. That murder dates all the way back to 1986.
And in November of that year, Garland police say Barbara Villarreal was stabbed to death at her home. Investigators cleared her husband from the case, and then police say that they recovered DNA evidence from the scene, but the case ended up remaining cold for decades. And then just last year, 86-year-old Liborio Canales was arrested after investigators say advancements in technology finally allowed for some new testing to be done on blood that was collected at the scene. Through investigative genetic genealogy, police say that they were able to match the DNA to Canales and then tracked him down in New Mexico. He happens to be the victim's brother-in-law. Fast forward to today, prosecutors say Canales' guilty plea to the murder came with a 20-year prison sentence. Garland PD says the 86-year-old told investigators he was upset with Villarreal over some kind of family argument. And while this was the first murder conviction using this technique in Dallas County, there are other similar cases that have used genealogy.
Yeah, a little more than 3 years ago, this same technique actually helped catch a serial rapist who was sentenced to life in prison. David Thomas Hawkins was 74 when he was arrested. Prosecutors say they were linking him to about 4 rape cases in the 80s. The genetic forensic genealogy was the same exact technology, you might remember, that was used to track and arrest the Golden State Killer in California. Now, at the time, we spoke with one of the companies who helps authorities.
All right. So there you go. Sort of brother-in-law. Hello. What did I just say? What do we have a problem with in this country? You are more likely to be killed by your own family member than some stranger on the street.
Well, the families are the ones that you're closest with, and you end up with the highest emotions around them. And the closer you get to somebody, the betrayal by them it hurts more. So it'll throw you into that spiral of vengeance and just rage faster because you've been betrayed by somebody that you had the opposite feeling for prior to the betrayal. That's why.
So Vegas and I recorded the podcast last week, the Ford show. Madness wasn't able to be here, so we recorded a show. And the show ended up getting tossed out because of a bad echo on Vegas's end. And I posted it on Patreon. And so if you were there and you were able to stomach the audio, or your ears were able to handle it, you were able to hear the show. Tonight, Madness is just you and I because we can't get Vegas right. And I'm hoping there's no echo. I'm hoping we didn't just record 58 minutes, 59 minutes for nothing. So here's the hoping. You can follow me on X, on Twitter, at Ford Talks a Lot. Madness didn't put his name up there like I did mine for some reason. I don't know why. But Madness, is it at MFS Wellness on Twitter?
That would be it. And that also is the handle for my nutrition business. If you're interested in any personal training, nutrition coaching of the sort, I am happy to talk about that. And if you do mention the show, the Ford Show, you get a discount.
Beautiful. And then I get tipped. And yeah, if you want to no longer be fat, hit up at MFS Wellness on Twitter and Instagram, right? The Instagram too?
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn.
There you go, baby. MFS Wellness. Get well, live long, or die young. And Those are your options. All right. For Madness, I'm Ford. We'll see you guys next week right here on the Ford Show. Madness, any last words?
I got nothing but keep it up.
This is the Ford Show. This is the Ford Show.